Hey everybody, this is JT Skinner coming at you from Skinner Speed and Performance. We just finished up this build, not the excursion. No, it's behind the excursion, and it's the one I made the video of way back when. Seems like forever ago. The Brawler build. So this is 2018 Teryx limited edition with I think about 800 miles on it, and this is the third iteration and hopefully the final one. And if he's not happy with it now, I mean, let's be honest, it's time to move up to something way more expensive. So here we go. Check this out. This is the reveal video. You can see Yo Mama. That's ours, the red one there. But the camo one here, this is the one we're talking about. So if you guys haven't picked it out yet, we installed a custom colored HCR Moab long travel suspension kit with the optional King shocks, because now they carry Walker Evans. So the Kings are a little bit more expensive than they used to be. So he went with the Kings. I can't say he made a bad choice. He did have the springs custom colored. The setup is so nice. The green powder coating. They call this the edge white powder coating. Now you can get this with just about any color you like. So what they're actually doing is they're shooting the arms green, then they shoot it black, and before they actually bake the black on, they're wiping the edges down, so it kind of gives it a really cool pinstripe effect. You can see the RCV axle shafts in there, HCR laser engraved on there. We did a lot of really wild stuff here. You know, this is as top of the line as you're going to get. We got Keller ball joints. We have a really interesting tie rod setup. Now you can see how close that is to the wheel. I know a lot of people are going to be like, ah, man, that's really close, I don't like that, it's too tight. Well, that's the only thing that's going to work. As far as I know, nobody at this point is running a 15x6 5+1 race line podium bead lock on this setup. Now we did this specifically because my customer wanted this thing to be as narrow as possible with a full long travel system on it. So the original Brute Performance heavy duty HCR spec tie rods were not going to fit. They actually hit the wheel during articulation. At ride height, no problem, but as soon as you started to articulate it, no good. So these are really awesome. I don't even know if they're on the website yet. James and Desiree really bent over backwards for about $1 million worth of parts in this machine, and had these things here super quick for me. They are a Heim with a custom bar, all machined aluminum, and they still use the really awesome kryptonite inners. Those are their boots as well. And this rack is actually a brand new Kawasaki rack, which won't really make much difference to you. I'll take a shot of it on the other side. But brand new Kawasaki rack with the Brute Performance upgrade kit installed, which you can see the cap back there. Now, HCR would like you to mount the reservoirs right to the bumper. However, these hoses were really tight, so I decided to do something a little bit more custom. I stacked some tubing, I fabricated some mounts, I welded it directly to the bumper support tube, and then I coated it to match everything, nice texture black, and it fits really well. It actually sits the reservoir right behind the front bar, so it gets a little bit more protection than what it would sitting next to it. So that's it up front. I mean, HCR, Keller's, Brute Performance, little Skinner Speed Performance thrown in there too, and yeah, so there's your front end, race line podiums. Oh, and 32-inch Brave and Berserkers, 32, 10, 15. These things, they work really well. You know, I don't know too many people that are running them, but I use them in the 14-inch variety, and I have never had a problem with them at all. So here we go in the back. Same wheels, same tires, obviously. Same HCR. We did the same thing up top with the mounts. Actually welded in, fabricated up the mounts for the reservoirs there. The access to the clickers is really easy to get to. And back here, we did one of our bed lifts also. So it's a 4-inch bed lift. No reverse lights mounted in there. So these are not the rump riser lights. These are the standard rump risers. He already has the Brute Performance reverse pods, which these things are insanely bright. So you really are not going to want for lighting. That's for sure. So yeah, so this thing is all beefed up. And we got a whole bunch of other stuff going on in here. What you don't see, well, you can see a little bit. We got Brute Performance HCR spec bushings all the way around. We also did Garage Products bushings, hub bushings in both the rear hubs. We used a Brute Performance bearing greaser in all the bearings around the entire vehicle. And I made these, Skinner Speed and Performance. We did fender flares. We need a little bit of a mudguard action. So these are a 5-inch standout from the original fenders. The fronts are angled and also a 5-inch standout. And these are made of HDPE. And these are cut and custom formed with a heat gun. So they're actually thermomolded just to make it work. But cool part is they actually mount on the newer models anyway, not the older models, but the ones that actually have the bolted in steel in the fender well. They just sandwich in between. So it's only 3/16 of an inch. They're relatively firm, but they're really, really forgiving if you clip something. And they mount right in between here, sandwich in, nice and firm, and it's a strong mount point and very easy to clean because it overlaps. So that's what we're rocking here. Let's see. Let's move to the inside. If I can get this thing unzippered. So we're gonna move inside. Now this is one that is not super popular yet. A lot of people ask about the Razor seats. Did you guys know that you can just run the Razor seat back and gain like 1.5 inches of depth? So if you got a big ass, I mean, some people just have big asses. It is what it is. I'm a big guy. I like to slide back into my seat. This cushion cradles you really, really nicely. You still have the super plush Teryx bottom, and I know it doesn't match. It is what it is. You can do your best to make them match. My personal vehicle, I've got silver and black, no color in the bottom, so if I put a silver back on mine, it'll look incredible. We got Pro Armor harnesses. We also have Pro Armor harnesses in the rear with a PRP bench seat, Dragonfire in the center. It also has a Dragonfire harness bar that barely clears the bed with the bed lift installed, but it does. We got about 3/4 of an inch, and that's about it. And it works really, really well. So these are Dragonfire pass-throughs. We installed these as well when we did the harnesses, and it only takes a little bit of machining to your factory frames. You do not have to use the Razor seat frames in order to make this work. A little bit of a trim, a little bit of drilling, and boom, even the back panels, the original kick panels in the back of the seats, so your kids aren't kicking the crap out of your brand new seat backs, they fit right back on again. Same push pins and everything, which is spot on. If you want to see that, I will do that real quick. Again, I probably should have opened these doors before doing this video, but yeah, everything's on there. We've got it wrapped, kick panels in place, everything's in good shape, no big deal. And then we're gonna move in here and we're gonna show you some really, really cool stuff. So let's push this bad boy out of the way. So under this seat, something big. Please don't mind the seatbelt delete we got there. That's just a one for me to run around the yard and get in and out of the shop without having to bounce off the rev limiter every 2 seconds. So down here we have that's right, Odyssey auxiliary battery. We bought this kit from Justin Steffi, Trailboy LED, and Justin and Bobby Joe have been around for a really, really long time, and I really can't say anything bad about them. Met them in person a couple times. They're just genuine, salt of the earth, good people. So this kit, mounted the way it is really the only reason we bought the kit was to get the isolator and the battery. Pretty much everything else has been fabricated by me. The battery hold down has been fabricated by me. That's got a mount in it for the 100 amp circuit breaker. Now that does separate the entire auxiliary battery from the rest of the vehicle. So no charging, no loads, no nothing. We've got some other stuff under here, just some zipped up wiring. I mean, you guys can say what you want. I shortened everything that was possibly able to be shortened, and it's tucked away. It's a lot of lighting, so rock light wiring can't be shortened, so you guys know that, and that's just how that goes. So it's all looped up, everything's ready to rock and roll. So we actually fabricated a tray for the battery, welded it in. It is insulated with foam rubber underneath and held down very securely with foam rubber underneath the bracket itself too. Everything is really rock solid. I'm really impressed at how this came out. I'm very happy with it, and it works really, really well. The cool thing about that breaker is because it's a push button breaker, you can actually release that breaker anytime you want. If you need to do work on anything, if you want to, you know, work on your stereo, your lights, you need to pull some wiring out, you can disconnect that entirely from the system. So all the loads, all the accessories are driven directly through this auxiliary battery. The starting battery is completely separate, and that is via a, who is this? Is this a Blue Sea? No, this is not Blue Sea. True, excuse me. It is a True isolator, and that is it right there. The True isolator runs directly off the starting battery via that one charging cable right there, and then we move up there, and then we have a bus bar right here. Now that bus bar is feeding everything via 4-gauge audio quality OFC cable, and that is feeding the winch, that is feeding the stereo, that is feeding the lights, that is feeding the light bar, that is feeding the hydraulic plow assembly. Yes, that's right, this thing has a big boy tilt assist for a big plow. So it's got a monster steel blade plow. This thing does incredible in the wintertime, and it tilts left and right from the dash, up and down, from the winch like normal. So this thing it's pretty sweet the way this thing's set up. So this is the positive side distribution block. The bus bar distribution block for the negative is on the passenger side, and that again, same spot, tucked up and away, up in the fender well. Everything runs back here. There is another module for a rock light setup. And we got some rock lights in the wheel wells, and under the hood, try to simplify things as much as we could. We have a Blue Sea 12 circuit fuse block. It includes ground and positive. I think that was probably the smartest way to go. The relay in the system right over there is actually set up for the light bar, and it's just a basic light bar. I mean, you guys have seen them all the time. Everything works properly. And we also installed a uni air filter. Finally, I've been suggesting this one for a little while. I'm not going to pop that off and show you. Brute Performance, again, like I said, they're on this list like 6,000 times when it comes down to it. You can actually see their vent kit in there that was installed last year on this machine. And this is a cool thing. Everybody look real close at that. A little dusty. That is a Wags Whips controller. Wags Whips controller is for these killer 12-volt halos. I mean, these things are insanely bright and precise and sharp and on the money. My man Wags, come on Zach, just, you know, give it up for Zach. This guy has been putting out such quality products, stands behind every single little thing that he does, and he does all this by hand, guys. I mean, this is a guy that works a day job, has 4 kids, and still manages to knock out the highest qualities on the product. I mean, highest quality products on the market. And I can't say enough. I mean, the guy is on top of everything, is a nice guy to boot. You know, if you're looking for lighting, whips, halos, custom stuff, he's doing killer chase bars now. He's doing an insane business with innovations that the industry is now starting to take notice of, and he's been doing it for, you know, months to a year already, or more than that for that matter. So we're just really, really happy to know him and have his products and have his expertise on board with this too. So let me throw this hood back up here. I'm not even going to button it down yet because nobody wants to see that crap. Everybody wants to get to the rest of the good stuff. So, rest of the good stuff. We got dash panels, cubby covers. Warren Rebig hooked it up. I got the pleasure of riding with him back in July. I want to say July. Went up to AOAA and went out with him. He showed us the sights. It was really, really cool. And I got to check out his machine, which, if you guys don't know Warren, he's got about 3 million gadgets attached to that thing. It looks like freaking control center in there. So here we got the dual voltmeter. Dual voltmeter is really neat. This setup, it comes with the auxiliary battery kit from Trail Bright LED, and this monitors both batteries in real time directly from the isolator, and I just think it's cool. It doesn't draw much amperage. It shows you the state. It shows you when the isolator kicks on, kicks off, because you can tell from the voltage that's being input from the auxiliary battery. We've got our 3 switches: interior lights, rock lights, and squatch lights. Well, squatch light is the actual light bar outside. Over here, we've got your auxiliary port for your winch. You've got your main winch in, winch out. And then this is the Moto Alliance hydraulic tilt for the plow that I was telling you guys about. I never installed one of those before, and after I put it in, I was like, man, I really wish I had it on my machine. It would just make getting in, getting out, you don't have to do that crap anymore. This, guys, if you don't know, this is a PowerBase soundbar controller. This is a remote controller. Now, this is a little bit overboard for some of you guys that only wanted a soundbar to bolt it in so you didn't have to wire anything, get anything, in the way, just 2 wires, and you control it from the face of the soundbar. But my customer wanted a soundbar for the simplicity, and he also wanted to be able to control it while still wearing a harness, while still riding down the trail without looking over his shoulder and over his head and all that stuff. So we ran that. Now, all the PowerBase stuff, all the Pro Armor stuff, this all came from Johnny Brown at 864 Off-Road. Again, I do the best I can to deal with the best people in our industry. And I've got such a huge list of people that are on this build that were either vendors or suppliers or builders. And I try and do the best I can to deal with the best of them. And I'll tell you what, I've only talked to John Brown a couple times, and he is now on my list of best of the best. I mean, I'm not even kidding. So here's the soundbar. Yes, it's big. It's the XL1200. This thing is rated at 1,000 watts, I believe. 12 speakers, Bluetooth. It screams. I mean, this thing absolutely cranks. It is the freaking loudest thing I think I've heard. I mean, my system is probably a little bit more crisp than this, but mine is also all separate speakers, amplifier, head unit. But for a soundbar, this thing is just utter annihilation. And if you don't have hearing loss from being in an industry like I do, you will after driving around with this, because the louder you crank it, the faster you want to drive. And with an HCR Moab and 32s, you can pretty much go as fast as you want. So guys, this is the Brawler build. We didn't really mess with too much. Oh my gosh, I completely forgot. We put 32s on it. I got a phone call asking, what can I do to spin 32s? And I said, well, you need clutching, obviously. So he said, well, what do I do for clutching? And I said, well, you got 2 options. I said, you have either VFJ or you have JBS. So I left it up to him. I have dealt with both individuals. I have no complaints about either one, so I'm completely, I guess you would say, neutral as far as personalities, as far as product goes. I have VFJ on my machine. I've done some JBS stuff in the past, and I don't have any issues with any of it. So under that cover, under that seat down there, is a brand new set of machined JBS clutches with a brand new belt from, once again, Brute Performance. Weights, springs, all done up, freshly faced, and set up to turn 32s. And I will tell you right off the bat, this thing will turn 32s with no issues whatsoever. This is a bone stock 800. Nothing has been done to this thing performance-wise. The only thing it's got in it is a uni filter. Everything else is bone stock. This thing has 800 miles on it. And turning 32s is cake for this. Absolutely cake. So Guys, thanks for watching. That's the Brawler build. And this is where we stand, man. Machine's cool. Definitely cool. We'll let you know how it does out in the woods. All right, later.